Welcome back to the deep dive. So this massive May 2024 leak of Google's internal docs. It's not just, internet chatter. It really feels like we've been handed a technical blueprint, almost a dictionary, for their ranking systems, straight from the Content Warehouse API.
It really is unprecedented. For years, it's been guesswork, observation. Now we have the engineering language, and that's our mission today, really, to translate that complex jargon into clear, actionable strategy for you.
Yeah.
Specifically, how Google is now trying to measure something we always thought was, well, subjective. Human effort in content.
Right. And the absolute star of this whole leak, the thing everyone's talking about, is this one attribute. Content effort. Okay, let's unpack this. We've always talked about quality content, but it's been so vague. What is this algorithmic measure of effort?
It's essentially Google using an algorithm to estimate the resources, the actual labor that went into creating an article. The documentation calls it an LLM-based effort estimation for article pages.
LLM-based. So they're using AI to figure out how much human work went in.
Exactly. A sophisticated large language model looks at the page and tries to gauge the intellectual energy, the creative investment. It's a fundamental shift, moving beyond just looking at, say, backlinks, to directly assessing the input cost and, well, the inherent quality signal from that effort.
That throws a wrench in things, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of content strategy now is built on scale, efficiency, often using AI. If the algorithm's measuring human effort, is Google actively penalizing scaled content, even if it reads okay?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's definitely a move away from simple metrics like word count. This LLM is doing a qualitative assessment. It's looking for, and the docs use this phrase, intellectual rigor and creative investment.
Okay.
So yeah, content that's just churned out at minimal cost, maybe spun or heavily templated, that's now directly fighting against a specific measurable ranking factor. If you want a high content effort score, just pure volume is, well, likely working against you.
So, playing devil's advocate, as a creator, how do I show this effort? How do I signal high effort in a way this algorithm understands? What are the specific things on the page that this LLM values?
Right. The documentation actually gives us some pretty clear pointers. There seem to be 4 key factors that really influence this score. You need to build these into your workflow.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, multimedia integration. But here's the key. It has to be unique multimedia. We're talking original photos you took, custom infographics you designed, maybe a unique data visualization, or even an embedded tool you built.
Not just grabbing a stock photo.
Exactly. Generic stock stuff. That takes almost zero effort. That's not going to move the needle. The effort has to be apparent in the asset itself.
Makes sense. What's second?
Second is data and originality. The content needs to bring something new to the table, to the web's corpus of information. So think proprietary data from a survey you ran, original research you conducted, or maybe a really novel synthesis of information from places others haven't connected.
So rewriting the top 10 search results isn't going to cut it.
Definitely not. If your competitor can easily replicate your findings just by Googling, your effort score is likely going to reflect that lack of originality.
Okay. Unique multimedia, original data. What else?
Third is structure and complexity. The LLM apparently analyzes the page's logical flow, its hierarchy, think clear headings and subheadings. It also looks at the density of complex language and, critically, the use of proper citations to authoritative sources. These act as proxies for intellectual work.
Like a well-researched paper almost.
Sort of, yeah. It suggests a human expert spent real time organizing dense information and presenting it clearly, backing it up.
All right. And the fourth one?
And finally, this is maybe the most interesting, replicability assessment. This is basically the defensibility factor. High scores go to content that's genuinely difficult, expensive, or time-consuming for others, whether that's competitors or AI models to reproduce well. A high score essentially flags your content as a valuable, non-commoditized asset, something that required real investment.
Let's paint a picture. Low effort. A 1,500-word AI-generated article, maybe lightly edited, with a stock photo, summarizing existing stuff.
Yeah, cost. Maybe $20, half an hour of work.
High effort. Same word count, but includes, say, an exclusive interview, results from a custom survey you commissioned with 500 people, and 5 unique charts visualizing that data.
Right. Cost. Could be thousands of dollars, weeks of real work, coordination. The content effort score is designed precisely to tell the difference between those two scenarios, to capture that massive resource gap.
Okay, so content effort goes deep on the individual page, But we know Google looks at the whole picture, right?
Right.
This score can't exist in a vacuum. It has to connect to the site's overall reputation, the domain quality.
Absolutely. It's part of a multi-layered system. The leak confirms page performance is tied directly to the host domain's quality. No surprises there, but it's good to see it explicit. Even at the document level, there are other scores working alongside contentEffort.
Like what?
Well, for shorter pages, product descriptions, category pages, where deep effort isn't really the point, there's original content score. It measures uniqueness, even for short text snippets. So unique descriptions are rewarded.
And what about the trust factor? EAT.
Yes, the trust pillar is very visible. They have explicit negative signals, things like scamness, literally a score estimating the probability of deception, or the gibberish score for catching nonsensical AI-generated stuff. Even technical things like a bad certificate impact perceived trust.
And the system needs to know what kind of page it's looking at, right? A blog post is different from a product page.
Precisely. That's where the commercial score comes in. If it's above 0, the page's main intent is flagged as commercial or transactional. This lets Google adjust its quality expectations. You judge a sales page differently than an informational guide.
Okay, moving up from the page. This leak seems to finally confirm stuff we've suspected for years about site-level authority. No more guessing.
Pretty much. The documentation confirms a specific site authority metric. It validates that core SEO idea. Pages inherit quality from their domain. So even with amazing content effort, if your site's overall authority is low, that page will have an uphill battle.
Necessary but not sufficient.
Exactly. And we also see topical authority quantified. There's a siteFocusScore measuring how dedicated the domain is to a specific topic, and then siteRadius measures how far a particular page strays from that core topic.
Ah, so going way off topic can hurt that specific page.
Potentially, yes. A high siteRadius suggests lower relevance for that page within the site's established expertise, and the docs imply that can be detrimental.
And the age-old Google sandbox for new sites, is that confirmed too?
It is, clear as day. The hostage attribute exists, and the documentation explicitly states its use to sandbox fresh spam in serving time. So yes, new sites definitely start out being treated differently, needing to earn trust over time.
Okay, wow. Lots of moving parts. Let's try and tie this back to what many SEOs talk about. EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trust. That framework came from the Human Rater Guidelines. How do these technical attributes like contentEffort and siteAuthority actually map to EAT in the algorithm?
That's maybe one of the most valuable insights from the leak. It bridges that gap between the human guidelines and the actual code. The key takeaway is EEAT isn't one single score. It's not a thermometer.
Right.
Think of it more like a dashboard in a car. Dozens of different indicators these attributes light up, and together they give you the overall picture of health or quality. EAT is an emergent property of all these signals working together.
Okay, so how do they map? Like experience and expertise.
For experience and expertise, ENE, the main proxies we see are contentEffort reflecting the depth and work involved, and also an attribute called isAuthor, which seems aimed at identifying and verifying the creator. This mirrors the Rater Guidelines wanting first-hand knowledge.
And authoritativeness.
Authoritativeness, A, clearly maps to site authority as the core metric. But it's also boosted by things like authority promotion, which seems to be a specific ranking lift given to authoritative pages.
Okay, and trust.
Trustworthiness, T, is largely signaled by those negative attributes we talked about, scamness, low-quality scores, etc., and also by heightened scrutiny for sensitive topics, indicated by scores like Wiml News V2 score for your money or your life content. Shows they apply stricter trust standards there.
So the algorithm makes its assessment based on all these signals. But ultimately, the user decides if content is good, right? How does Google factor in actual user satisfaction?
Yes, the final layer. That's where the NavBoost system comes in. And it seems to run on data from a module internally and amusingly named CRAPS.
Craps. Seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah.
NavBoost essentially re-ranks result based on what users do after they click. It looks for key satisfaction signals. Good clicks are where a user clicks a result and doesn't immediately come back to the search page. They found what they needed.
They didn't pogo stick.
Exactly. Bad clicks are that pogo-sticking user clicks, quickly bounces back. That signals dissatisfaction. And the really strong positive signal is last longest clicks. The user clicked, stayed, and potentially spent more time there than on other results they clicked. That's a big win.
So NavBoost is basically the helpful content system, HCS, in action, using real user behavior. If users hate it, the contentEffort score might not save it.
Precisely. It's the ultimate validation loop. User behavior can override the algorithmic predictions if the content just isn't actually helpful or satisfying in practice.
Okay, this gives us a much clearer picture of how Google evaluates content. So strategically, what's the big takeaway? For everyone listening, what's the single most critical shift needed in their content strategy now?
The imperative is a fundamental shift in mindset, from keyword-first thinking to effort-first. Your primary objective has to be demonstrably, measurably committing resources to create genuine user value that's hard to replicate, not just hitting keywords or publishing volume.
Because content effort is basically Google's shield against low-quality AI content.
That seems very likely. It's a direct defense mechanism. If your content production is optimized solely for cheapness and speed, you are now, by definition, optimizing for a low content effort score, which the algorithm sees as a low-value signal.
So how do we make this practical? What changes do teams need to make to their actual content briefs and workflows, like tomorrow?
Content briefs need a rewrite. They must now mandate the inclusion of elements that directly fuel that content effort score. Requirements for unique data or original research cannot be optional anymore. Requirements for custom, unique multimedia assets need to be standard. Without building those effort signals into the requirements, you're setting the content up to fail before it's even written.
And it's not just page by page, right? You mentioned site-level effects.
Absolutely. Because systems like the HCS look at quality signals across the entire site, you have to manage quality holistically. This means systematic content audits are no longer just good practice, they're essential defense. You need to find and either significantly improve or prune those old, low-effort, low-quality pages. They can drag down the entire domain's perceived quality. It's the legacy of Panda, essentially, but now tied to these more granular signals.
Which brings us back to AI. If efficiency is penalized by the content effort focus, should creators just ditch AI tools altogether?
No, that's likely the wrong conclusion. The winning strategy isn't abandoning AI, it's using it smartly. Use AI as a force multiplier for human effort, not a replacement for it.
How does that work in practice?
For instance, using an AI tool to perform complex analysis on a unique data set you collected. That helps generate original insights. That's high effort. Using AI to help code a unique interactive data visualization based on your original findings. High effort, hard to replicate. But just using AI to rewrite existing articles or generate generic text based on prompts, that produces easily replicable, low-effort content, resulting in a low score. AI should augment your research, analysis, and creation of unique assets, not just spin commodity content.
So it's about leveraging AI for tasks that genuinely increase the uniqueness and depth, not just the speed or volume.
Exactly. Focus AI on the parts that enhance the intellectual rigor and creative investment.
Okay, this deep dive has been incredibly illuminating. It feels like the path forward is clearer, albeit maybe harder. Success really hinges on this complex interplay between measurable page-level effort, content effort, the overall site context, siteAuthority, siteFocusScore, and ultimately user satisfaction. Good clicks. Trying to optimize just one piece looks completely obsolete now.
It really does. And maybe one final thought for you, something to mull over from the documentation. Google's system isn't just assigning a simple good or bad score. They talk about using internal functions called twiddlers for re-ranking, and we see specific scores like authority promotion for boosts or product review pit emote site for demotions. It suggests pages exist on a dynamic spectrum, constantly getting adjusted with various boosts and dampeners based on dozens of signals.
Wow.
This incredible complexity is precisely why a consistent, strategic commitment to genuine quality and demonstrable effort across the board is the only sustainable path forward. There are too many variables to game, you just have to be genuinely good.
Fantastic insight. Thank you so much for navigating us through this technical detail and laying out such a clear strategic path for this new effort-first reality.
It was my pleasure. Lots to think about.
Indeed. And thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll be back soon, digging into more crucial source material.